Comprehensive?
Yeah, the grass was red, nothing but.
There's no.
Yeah, we did.
There's no like.
Mine did.
Oh,
Oh, Bill won't be here, by the way.
Yeah.
That word. Coaching?
No.
You will be sitting on each other. Not like they were trying to get me. Yeah. It was raining.
It's a slippery slope there.
Just let, it's for the kids.
For the
Yeah, I was
kids.
already coaching T-ball, but not doing soccer this time.
You'd make a great soccer coach.
Oh,
Greasing the wheels over
Fair
there.
I'll have them call you and Sue. You coaching? You guys are in?
We'll put that in the minute. Eric, we'll put that in the minute.
If I knew anything about it, I'd consider it.
I didn't know anything about it and he just figured it out.
Just
Did it for a year.
My wife's been coaching for 3 years. Like, you know, soccer, but she never played a minute of soccer.
No. And yet,
coach any sports for my kids, so they don't know what I'm doing. So it's great.
I love when I go to my
Yeah.
like, third grade basketball games and they'd have to stop the whole game and tell me, no, now you're going this way, you're going this way.
Yes, it's for this, but
Just make sure they're having fun.
Exactly.
What if they're still doing that on JV?
I haven't seen other than my.
Having emotions.
They got it, yeah.
Well, John?
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
It's 5:00, yes. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
It's the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Beals?
Here.
Mr. Fitting?
Here.
Mr. Mosa? Here. Mr. Lupino?
Here.
Mr. Malloy is absent. Mr. McPherson?
Here.
Mr. Steppier?
Here.
We have 6 present.
Thank you. Move on to 2.0, Secretary's Report. We have minutes of the 10/30th regular board meeting. And everyone's had plenty of time to go over these.
And move approval of minutes of the June 30th meeting.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move on to 2.2 minutes of the July 9th special board meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 2.3 approval of the agenda.
I'll move approval of the agenda. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to 3.0 conflict of interest. If any board member sees anything on the agenda that they would have a conflict regarding, please let us know. Hearing none, we'll move on to 4.0 institutional reports. 4.1 introduction of new employees and some not so. And do you want to take that? Since Debbie isn't here.
Sure. Carrie, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Carrie Clevy. Currently, I'm working as a marketing strategist and moving into business faculty. So was once in Wendy's seat, so I feel like most of you know me. So thanks again.
Thank you for everything, Carrie. The person you may not know is Gabe Stilson. Gabe is working on our so come on, just.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Gabe Stilson. Taking over for Bill Perrin. I'm sure at least some of you are familiar with him. So I'll be the supervisor over at Mount Zion, tackling all the outdoor stuff and managing the inside of the chalet and all the operations that goes on there. Working with Ryan here, so super excited about that. We have a lot of energy coming into the program and excited to see where we can take it, see what we can do with it. Filling in for big shoes, of course. Jim and Bill were quite the tag team, so we got big shoes to fill, but we're excited the direction that we can take the program. So happy to be here.
Thank you.
Welcome. Can't wait to see what you two are able to do with this.
Exceeding all expectations.
You guys have very positive energy. We're hopeful and on your side.
Yes. Moving on to 4.2 personnel.
Debbie is with her mother-in-law who had a medical procedure today. It went well. This is the human resources update from Debbie. And most of it you already know about. The current positions being posted. Student success coordinators for Houghton and Ironwood campuses both. They were in my Friday updates to you all. The adjunct for the automotive program is to, we're really reevaluating that program. So we want to build a vacancy with adjuncts and adjunct, and then we'll talk to you about what we feel is appropriate. Same thing with cosmetology. The cosmetology we're reviewing, absolutely running it. There's a rumor around town that we're closing it. We're really not. But the temporary full-time is because the program is currently 1.5 years long. We feel like that's long. My mom was a beautician, so I know for a fact that when you get licensed, you get licensed by contact hours. And we're trying to put that into a credit hour system, which is a little tricky. But we feel like the 1.5 years is a long time to become a beautician, so we're going to shrink that down. We're examining that with a temporary full-time person. The VP of Academic Services has gone out to the registry. I emailed with Ian today and he said there were 5 people who fit our profile. We intentionally were very tight with that profile, so we didn't want a big applicant pool. The big criterion is experience as a vice president of academics in Michigan before, so that really limited the pool, which is fine with us. We didn't want a lot of candidates. We just wanted somebody who fit. Of the 5, 1 did apply, 1 said he or she would apply, and the other 3 could not right now. So we have a pool of 2 at this point, which is fine. That's a good number. Dean of Students is on the agenda, so we can talk about that more when we get to it on the agenda. This is, you don't have to take action on this, but we do need to talk about it and be transparent to the public. What we're doing is building a bigger layer in the middle of the college administration and leadership. So we're having a dean of students instead of a vice president of student services, which is what we previously had. We can talk more about that in a little while. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Move on to 4.3 vice president update.
But one, as you're well aware, the summer is coming to an end, so I sent out a reminder this week that the summer term this week will end. In fact, we put in the final grades, and we're beefing up for fall. So we have a few staffing vacancies that I have very nearly completed. We're about done. Music appreciation was a real tough one, and we have managed to find someone to fill it this week. Beyond that, we are looking hard at the class cancellations. And typically, at least up here to my knowledge, there's many classes fill slowly. And so you get these last minute runs on classes. And so I've been talking with our colleagues about what the drop dead date is to be able to cancel classes with low impact on our students so that they can continue to talk to advisors and choose other classes so that they're not hurt and they get a full enrollment. Beyond that, we have also finalized a support for our students who are in CDL who may not test out and finish testing. We had one example from how many years of CDL where they didn't pass their outside portion driving. So we now have a retest policy that President Shrub and the rest of the group have reviewed. We're going to run it and see how it plays out. But the goal is to help a student to try and retest, but not to give away everything because it costs a lot since we have to use our own truck and our own instructor to then go to Escanaba with a student if they fail twice. So this would be a 3rd test.
So right now they can test here twice. Is that correct?
They can test twice, but it's up there. So the testing site, no matter what, the testing site is a 2-hour drive. So what we're talking about is what do we do when a student fails, if they fail? And Derek Jeske, our instructor, we just had our first one. And we didn't have a policy. So Rick entrusted me to build a policy that he reviewed and the rest of our executive, and we have one that's working. So the student will bear some upfront costs, and there's no way to mitigate that because it costs fucking gas. So we love the policy, but it's a working.
Sure.
And plan.
That's it? Okay. We'll move on to. Since we're out of other DPs, we'll move on to 4.4, vote update.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay, great. So just lots of projects right now at the Copper Country Center. So we are, number one, finalizing adjunct needs for some in-person fall 2026 classes, almost there. Probably put the finishing touches on a couple of those things over the next couple of days or so. We are in the middle of reorganizing our main lobby experience, including creating a new office for Jared in his new registrar role. So thanks to Rich and Patty for taking the lead on that project. We'll be excited for all of you to see that next time you stop by the Copper Country Center. Also excited about those interviews taking place for Jared's replacement. As student success coordinator, that's obviously an integral part of this team. So preparing training plans for that new hire because we want to get him onboarded right away. Thanks to Jared, too, for organizing one last new student orientation event before passing the torch on to the newbie once they're on board, which hopefully will be pretty soon here. And then finally, thanks to Kyle. Again, I mentioned, I believe during the last meeting that he was coming back on in his IT role, and he's just got a lot of projects going on in preparation for the new semester. So we're happy to have him back during the summer, so that's not a scramble towards the end of getting all the IT stuff back up and running before we start up. And that's it for me right now.
thank you. How's the roof coming along?
So it's coming. We've had some rain the past couple of days, and like I had said, they were doing directly overhead here. So we've had a couple of small little leak scares, but nothing major, and we're doing okay. So still working along. They should be done with this front section within the next week and a half. And then again, within this next, hopefully less than a month until they're done with the back section, we can start moving stuff back in there. But more updates to come as we have them. Just kind of going with the flow of their project right now.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Move on to 4.5, President's update.
The president's update looks like this in your packet if you pick it up. First page is, I'm trying to keep up with the legislature and approval of our budgets for this upcoming fiscal year. The top page of your update is really what I believe to be true and also some interpretation of what that means to us. You certainly can't sit here and read that right now. It'll take you all night, but take it home and have a look at that. The details are accurate, and I added some commentary here and there about how that applies to us and what that means. My sources are the government website, Michigan Community College Association, and articles that I find as I'm looking just online to try to figure out what's happening. And that's current as of Saturday when I last edited it. The second page is our community college operations appropriations is the one that looks like that, if you look at that page. The second page is last year's appropriation is over here, it would be on your left. And then if you add to that the two shaded columns that are over toward the right-hand side, that will arrive at this year's appropriations. So this column plus those two increases arrives at this year's appropriation. And the appropriation increase for Gogebic, you can just go down alphabetically to the Gogebic line, and go all the way over to the right. It's a change of not quite 1%, it's 0.9% increase over last year. Steph budgeted for flat, so that's pretty flat, but it's a little bit of an increase over last year. You can look at a comparison of what the other sister colleges got throughout the state as well. The enrollment report looks like this, if you turn the page to that one. And the trends I looked at the bottom, considerations for planning for you and for us. The considerations for planning are that there are lower numbers of people, fewer people are taking higher numbers of classes. If you look at the on-ground remote options for both Houghton and Ironwood, they're both spiking. That seems to be where the popularity is going. We're down 1.52% over last year on this date. The thing I want to point out is this year starts a week later. So I've asked Miranda to start comparing date to date like she has always done, plus point to point. Point to point means how far away you are from the start of the quarter. The reason that's important is that the enrollment will spike right before the quarter starts. So currently we're farther away from the start of the quarter than we were last year. So if you look at us as being down in enrollment, we're probably not. We're just farther away from the start of the start of the semester. For student services, headcount is the number you want to pay attention to, but for money, you want to look at credits taken because we get paid by credits, not by headcount. And then just watching the trends, Houghton is growing. Thank you, Anthony, if you're still there, you're doing a nice job. And distance education is being viewed preferably as a supplement, but not as the primary source of delivery for students. It used to be that was exactly what people wanted to do, distance education, but not anymore. They really want an on-ground face-to-face experience with a distance option just in case something comes up so they don't have to go to class if the weather gets bad or something like that. If you look at the next page, this is coming up. There's an event. You're welcome to join me. I will happen to be in Escanaba that day. So I'm going to go to the governor's update. If you want to go, you're welcome to join me. We have a private donor who'll pay your way. If you feel like joining me in Escanaba for the face-to-face with the governor. It'll be a nice event. There'll be a luncheon served that day and we can really listen more closely to her about what her plans are for the future and for our budgets.
I got a question for the on ground with the remote option. Was there some classes that we discontinued to be remote only? Is that why it's up so much?
That means the class is face-to-face with a remote. If it's only face-to-face, there's no remote, there's no online option. You're just like a technology class.
But did we cut maybe a remote one and that's why it's up so much, or just that's what they wanted?
That's just what people want.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we didn't cut. We're cutting low enrollment classes, but that's not what made it spike. I think it's just a social attitude among young people now. They want to get back together. I kind of like that. I'm just
Encouraging.
just visiting with people. That's what just young people. That's what they're saying. Plus, we want more feet on campus here and in Houghton, so we're really happy with that. If you want to join me in Escanaba, just let me know and I'll sign you up for listening to the governor. The RSVP needs to come in by the 15th. And the last thing is the one that's in color, looks like this. The reason I'm giving that to you is it's happening tonight, right now, right here. So if you want to come over after the board meeting, if you want to walk over, all y'all do. If you want to walk over into the forum and just say hello to everybody, you're welcome to do that. That's taking place right now in the Linquist Center. It's in the kitchen area, which really makes me happy because that kitchen is too nice to not be used. That thing is gorgeous. I cook a lot and I see that kitchen in there empty. It just makes me want to cry. So I'm really happy with people going in there and having a lot of activity. The very last page is the agenda for the business forum that's taking place tonight. The business forum is really from our continuing education and workforce development department. And the people you can see who are listed there are local business owners who are teaching. Mostly it's for startups and new companies, small companies who want to learn more about how to start a company or how to improve the one that they currently have. So right after our meeting is over, if we're not too late, I'll go over there, and if you're available, please come with me. That concludes my report.
Anyone have any questions for him? Okay. We'll move on to 5.0, public comment. And all they could say was goodbye. Okay.
Thought they were going to make a comment.
I thought so. I thought Ryan had 5 minutes of
He can't talk for 5 minutes.
enjoying it. Okay. Moving on to 6.0 new business. 6.1 financial reports.
Okay, so attached to the board's review are the very, very, very preliminary financial reports as of 6/30/2026. They're currently unaudited as we are preparing for the annual audit, which will take place in September 7th. I believe they will be on site. And we anticipate in between here and there, a lot of audit related adjustments. But what we're comparing to are the 6/30/2025 audited financial statement balances. So again, you have your general fund revenue and expenses, general fund balance sheet, and the statement of changes in fund balances for all funds. We'll start with the general fund revenue and expense summary. So the general fund revenue and expense summary reflect the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget and financial activity through June 30th, 2026. Revenue sources include tuition and fees from the fall, spring, and summer semesters, monthly state aid payments, and the annual accrual of property tax revenue. As you can see, currently we are at 102.35% of budget, which I did add a line so you guys could see the variance from the budget for 2026. I added that for this report so it's easier to see where our changes were. Tuition and fee revenue exceeded budget projections due to approximately 3% increase in credit hours. State aid revenue also increased primarily as a result of additional cost offset funding received from the state. That's that UAL adjustments that we get quarterly, but we didn't know if we were actually getting them. We got them, so that's a lot of the change in that number. Expenses, though, it looks like we're making $21,000 this year. We have a lot to book for year end still. We'll keep the books open for any payables that come in basically till the auditors get here. We're working on year-end entries. Some of them include, tuition waiver reconciliations, the GASB calculation, public service allocations, Mount Zion utilization cost allocations, just a lot. So the expenses are not 100% booked as of today.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Now, in your summary,
Mhm.
and maybe I'm jumping the gun here. You've got these notes under the statement of changes in fund balance. You said transfers to the auxiliary funds are expected to change significantly.
Because yes, we talked, so that, yeah, you did jump the gun. We weren't there yet.
Sorry.
But yes, they are going to significantly change. And if you go back to the front page, the general fund. So you see the other expense line and the transfer to other funds.
Okay.
See how basically it's going to be a reclass between those two accounts. It goes, so instead of a transfer, it's going to go to public service line, which is in other expenses. We talked about that. Because I have to do the allocations from Mount Zion for the public service, which is like 40% of their expenses go back to the college. So that line is going to drop down significantly, but it's going to go into a different line. So.
Thank you.
So if we're at 98.48%, what percentage is that gonna go up to? And
I don't
when
know.
all the expenses come in,
I don't know.
are we gonna be at the
I don't think
$470,000?
so. No,
No, because 21,000 looks a lot better than 470 and.
swing different way too.
What's
So that's gonna be a $500,000 swing is what you're saying right now. That's showing
Yes.
that we have net income, but we do not have net income.
So our percent of budget is expected to go well above 100%.
I would say well above. So you can see that's why I added this variance from budget.
Mhm.
I mean, we did cut a lot of costs this year, but you also increased, if you look at the line items, you can see where it increased as well.
Mhm.
So we did have a good spending freeze, but like I said, we still have year-end adjustments that we have to make, and I don't know what those are right now. But I will tell you that the revenue side is pretty accurate. I mean, there should not be significant changes to that.
Yeah.
So then if you move on to the general fund balance sheet, this basically, again, not audited yet, and there'll be changes as we get audit adjustments, but as of right now, there's no significant changes compared to prior year if you look at all the line items. And then with the statement of changes in fund balance, this we are summarizing the revenues and expenditures for all the funds through June 30th. Overall designated spending was lower than budgeted, primarily because equipment purchases were partially funded through donations this year. And in addition, expenditures that were budgeted for the ELT program were not fully utilized during the fiscal year. And then I did note, as Susan pointed out, transfers to auxiliary funds are expected to change significantly. So right now you can see they're high compared to last year, but that's because I still have to do those allocations. So I'll bring it right back down. Again, very prelim. And I'll keep you posted as we continue working on audit entries.
No surprises yet.
I don't think there should be any surprises, but
We're not anticipating any. We're also looking for efficiencies daily, so we'll be able to close that gap.
like I said, I think it's gonna be better than the $470,000 loss. But I can't give you a number right now. I don't think we're gonna see the 470.
Well, good work to everybody who's worked hard to improve the bottom line this year.
Thank you, Stephanie. Next, Jim.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to accept the financial reports and place them on file?
Motion to accept the financial reports and place them on
I
file.
got one question.
Okay.
The Genzabar, 140,000, that's correct.
That is correct. That's what we paid to use Genzabar for the year.
Okay.
So we actually, that was prepaid in May, because it, May or June, sorry, and it gets expensed into the financials for the next fiscal year. It's actually July 1st and it pays for the whole year.
Okay, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to 6.2 Board Policy Series 635 Revised Social Media Policy.
Same story as a month ago. Nothing has changed since last month, and they're just representing the compliance team and the compliance team for that second.
Anyone have questions on this?
I'll make a motion to accept the updated policy 635 that presented. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to 6.3 Board Policy Series 627 Emeritus Policy, first read.
Wendy, I'm looking at my packet. I see the one that we adjusted when we took the board members out. I don't see the one that I typed up for board members. Is it, can you look and see if mine just doesn't have that?
See this page from here?
Yeah, there's one that I
Right
typed.
over 6.3.
Yeah, this is the one that we changed. This is the one I changed. There's one that I typed.
No, but that is not included. It's just the marked up copy of what currently is and then marked what we changed. And if you look at the second page of it, it's everything we included. On the second page of this. Okay.
And that's the one thank you. So what I did was I looked at the emeritus policy that was for faculty, staff, and board of trustees. I removed board of trustees out. So if you look at the page that looks like this, that's the one, that's the old one modified. So everything lying through is what I took out. So that still applies to faculty and staff with no changes. If you flip that over to the one that's all highlighted, that's not quite the whole thing, Wendy, but we'll go with it. It'll be.
There's a little bit on the bottom of the previous page where it starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. So I typed one that's just for you. That's the one that's all highlighted, Board of Trustees Emeritus Policy. I took all the parts that were in the other one and I cut and pasted them into this one. And I added a very specific nomination and approval process. And then the big change is that the old policy, I appreciated because it gave you thanks and sent you on your way, but it didn't keep you involved. I really don't want to lose that institutional memory and history. So we really want to keep you involved in a way that you don't have to run for office, but you can still be officially involved in things. You can join committees, you'll automatically be invited to everything that we do on campus, all the activities, and you can, we'll request that you join committees for your expertise. So as a first read, this is what we're proposing for the new Board of Trustees emeritus policy and for the new faculty and staff emeritus policy. There'll be two separate things now.
One policy, two separate.
Categories?
It's still just gonna be policy 627. There's not another policy for the board members.
There is, I guess it could have the same number, I don't know, but the one for board members will
Yeah.
just start there.
Yep. But it'll all just be one policy now.
Yeah, they're the same number board policy. We're just gonna revise it and separate them.
Yeah, so the steps are separate.
So the faculty and staff will have their own.
Correct, yeah. They'll have the one they've always had. That one doesn't change for faculty and staff. It does change for you because they moved you out of that and put you in your own practice policy.
I'll make a motion to accept the first read of the revised policy.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any other comments? Questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we'll move on to 6.0, discussion regarding Dean of Students.
This is really for your information and public disclosure. We can edit this any way that you want or see fit. The staff and I looked at different Dean of Students job descriptions, including ours that you had here a long time ago, apparently. And we designed this one so that we could have a Dean of Students who would replace the Vice President of Student Services in the way that we really want to improve the what we call the doer body of people here. Less planning, less of a planning, and less theorizing and much more hands-on. So this would save about 15,000 from the budget in pay, and then the big improvement that it would be a person who would be in student contact much more. You don't have to take action because this isn't an executive position, but we did want to just have you look at it and think about it and talk about it.
I had a question regarding monthly travel to the Houghton location. Have you had some, because there's such a large part of our enrollment, what does that mean exactly? Monthly travel, is that, once a week, twice a week, once a month? Do we need to?
Be more specific.
Yeah, I'm wondering, and that might, I don't know how other board members feel about it, but I felt we needed to talk about this before we make a change. Well, maybe Sean, how much you have to travel back and forth, and I'm sure, and maybe Anthony would like to.
Yes.
This. I'd like to hear from both of you.
Okay. I will say, because I've been doing it's 1 year. One of the things that I did notice was that sometimes in our effort to provide services, we missed out because I'm right here on our colleagues that were to the north. And so in the spring, I dedicated with having talked to Anthony. I was doing once every 2 to 3 weeks, traveling up and spending a full day on the campus to devote to the faculty and staff there. And then doing some of what you expected, Rick, was to be out in the community too, meeting those persons. And so I found that to be a necessary component, not only because you have the people we serve, and it's greater than the small number. I think Anthony and I, we were talking several hundred students being served, not 200, more like 500 students, because those that might be online live out there. And so when they go for services, to your point, Rick, they're going to go to the campus. They're not going to come down here. So that presence is necessary. Anthony?
I would just add that because it's so particularly student focused, that may be the best thing that we can end up doing is when we do have events up here, that is a presence that we have, just so that they can intermingle with and connect with the students and hear about their stories for what's happening up here in the Copper Country. Maybe not so much from an administrative responsibility or requirement, but maybe more so the fun of getting in front of the students and getting active within the events that we do put on several times a semester here. And not only that, but the first thing I thought of when you were all discussing it and talking about that being in the description will be, maybe that's a large factor for somebody that might not be comfortable with or used to driving, you know, even a couple hours. And if you're doing that with some regularity, I know that sometimes that's a challenge for people. So just having some clarity around that could be wise in that description then too. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is going to be the student interaction and us just kind of keeping in connection with that new role for where those great opportunities would be.
Yeah, that's a good heads up, Anthony. Thank you. We didn't think about community and campus events, so we could change the phraseology so that it says travel to Houghton campus for, travel to Houghton for community and campus events, something like that.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Leave it as vague as this and just,
If we say
That's
campus and community events, that's pretty specific.
thank you both for your input. Anyone else have thoughts about any of this? That was the one thing that jumped out to me.
We won't rush on this. If you want to take a week or two to think about it, then you can call me or email me or something like that. We would like to move ahead on this within the next few weeks, though.
Well, just for the record, I fully support this. I think this is the right way to go. And I think it's important that they understand that there'll be a necessity to go to Houghton sometimes. So that's all I had on it.
I agree. This seems to be a good move.
Do you want to give like a date where you'd like, and I mean, is a week enough time for people to comment on it?
Sure, how about that?
And if you have thoughts about this or concerns or questions, get those to Rick within a week so that they can move forward with this. Because right now, we have people doing extra duties and sometimes the hiring process takes a long time.
Would we be looking to post this as soon as possible to find somebody? And if someone, oh, never mind, I'll get my lines crossed. That makes sense. Yeah.
So that that's why if you have anything in a week, please let him know. Otherwise,
No,
we'll move forward with it.
Yep.
Okay. And we don't need any action on this item. Thank you for your comments, everyone. Okay, we'll move on to 6.5, discussion of potential daycare.
This again is not something you should take action on. It's just for your information, and I didn't know if anybody would show up from the community. I went to, as I mentioned in my Friday updates, I went to the city council meeting, and the next day the city council meeting, just the city employees contacted me and said that there's going to be a crisis in daycare for the town. So is there anything we can do with the college? I said, we'd look at it. We don't have any money. It was very clear. So whatever provider comes here, we're just providing space. We're not paying, we're not operating the daycare. I have some experience in this, but a little different because when I was a dean, we had a daycare on my campus, but we operated it. It was ours. So we hired and we managed and we did the whole everything. This would be a little different because we're not doing that. I did consult our attorneys who said that there's no prohibition for doing this. We can do it if we want to. There were very specific guidelines about what our letter of understanding should be between us and the provider. And when we get to that point, if we get to that point, I'll share that exactitude with you. And then I asked about how we could select people who were interested in providing daycare services, and the attorney said there's no, you can do it any way you want, but just for goodwill and transparency, we should have some sort of RFP process. There are a couple of people local to the community who expressed interest. I don't really necessarily want to limit it to that though, because muddying the water even further is the YMCA discussion that I sent out to you on Friday. They provide daycare. And they're really good at it, so we may want to just let them run it. That's pretty much all I have so far. I did want to ask you about input that you might have for the RFP process, or should we do that, or should we just pick somebody? Really, the agreement that we sign will be very much, the agreement that we give to people will be very much like we provide to people who use our campus for other things too, so. We're very specific. We're not running a daycare. We're just providing a space. So what are your thoughts, please?
Within that, we'll have a vetting process for anybody that is interested, that they would be kind of selected by us, and we would
Correct. Yeah.
make sure that we have people that are appropriate. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. You guys are going to pick. So, or you'll tell me who to pick. It will probably be more like the way it goes. I didn't want to get into anything like a first come, first serve, or the person who is the most involved gets it automatically. I really be very standoffish about that with the public. There are two entities that contacted us and that want to run it, but other than saying we're considering it and we're looking at the facility, that's all I'm telling them. I don't know how much it'll cost. You know, I mean, the estimates are ranging all over the place from the daycare people who looked at it. Currently, the library looks like the best place because we could just block off that one hallway. That way the daycare could have the bathrooms that are there. We'll move Steph down to my suite, and we'll move Deb down to my suite somehow. There's a lot of empty space in that one room in the president's suite. We could put some walls there. We'll work it out. But currently, the library looks like the place because it has a lot of little rooms. It has plumbing, which is important. The kitchen is there. It has that great big room. It has the classroom that could be nap time. Don't get me started. I said that to the staff, and everybody's bringing in pallets for themselves. They want to get in on that nap room. And there are some great big like pantry areas that could easily be cleaned out and be used for diaper changes and stuff like that. So really that might work out. I'm optimistic and I really hope this works out. I kind of gave myself a month deadline to do it or don't do it because this is the kind of thing you can just wear yourself out talking about. So like in a month, that was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I guess by now. So I'd like to get on with telling people we're going to do it or we're not going to do it, but it's a great opportunity for the town and for our students and our employees as well.
One question I have out there was local demographics. I have no idea how many babies are out there. I'm looking at the high school classes and the numbers going down and down. I don't know anything about the younger kids. Maybe some of you guys know that one.
I know a couple of years ago, there was a huge demand and there wasn't too many places, and there was a couple. So I guess I don't know right now. I haven't been looking lately.
I think there's a pretty big demand on daycare.
Yeah, but that, I mean, that's, okay. That's,
Well, Ironwood, I mean, like the upcoming grades for Ironwood schools, there's 50 to 70 kids in the kindergarten through second grade. They have 4 sections in Ironwood alone.
Oh, good.
So there's certainly, you may see a trend of dropping at the high school level, but now we're seeing a trend. It's kind of going back up a little bit. I can't say the same for the other schools, but I know Ironwood schools has pretty good enrollment. So I mean, those kids have to go somewhere before they go to the public schools.
I don't have children, but over the years, I've on numerous occasions heard coworkers talking about difficulty finding daycare for their school-age children. Like for years, I've been hearing that on and off, and that there's so few daycare providers.
well, and I think that probably is something that we would hear at economic development conversations, because it's hard for people to move to an area that doesn't have adequate services.
I've heard of people moving the last 2 years because there was no daycare.
Moving away from here.
Moving away from the town because there was no daycare.
Ouch, man, we don't want that.
The Little Learners just closed.
Now, is Little Learners that Our Lady in the the old Catholic school area.
I asked her how many students she had to plant. She said 52 children or something like that. That's a lot. GOISD had a lot of children as well. They pulled out because they lost their grant. And I asked Alan how they provided it. He said it was their daycare. They ran it, but they did it through a third-party provider. So it was their daycare, but they hired somebody to do it.
There's some, I think, some room for some deeper discussions
Oh, absolutely.
on this.
The YMCA is really interesting to me. If there's already, well, there's already some interest on their part, right? With Linguist Center and
Yeah.
a potential community center, wherever that may be, but partnering somehow.
And they'd have the experience.
Yeah, the experience and go along with the experience, just the structure to have a successful one would be good.
I agree. I was really jazzed up when I read that. The only thing I didn't like is they're slower. But at our next board meeting, they want to be on the agenda to the Range Foundation, Gogebic Range Health Foundation wants to come here and ask you for permission to conduct a feasibility and cost study. Why would you say no? So they're gonna come and ask you for formal approval to do that at the next meeting. Right now, we met on Saturday here and they're asking their board to move forward with the Lake Superior YMCA, I think it's in Duluth, because they're running daycares they're running remote satellites just like ours on college campuses, and they do daycare. So I was really excited when I found out that we may want to just wait for them.
I know they do make a good chunk of their money from daycare at YMCA's.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, that might strengthen the
I still
whole.
remember from 7 years ago when I talked to them, that's what they said. So I'm assuming it's the same.
And other kid programming. I mean, when we were in Duluth and Superior, we utilized their YMCA's for both childcare and youth programs.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Not to go too far afield, but I wonder about the implications for our students in the community that have children that really can't come to school right now.
That can't come to.
They
school.
cannot come
Well,
But they
yeah.
could if they had daycare.
unless they have somebody to help.
Yeah.
So with this space for the daycare, there'll be like a monthly rental that this daycare provider would
Pay us, yeah. And that's it. The lawyer's very specific advice was about licensure and that they would have their own insurance, that they would have their own license, they would maintain all of that without us even getting involved. Yeah, they would just pay us rent. The library works out. The YMCA may like something else though, because the library has a private entrance. They could park just to drop off their kids in the big parking lot or over there. And if the weather's bad, they'll just come in these doors and go up with their kids. There's a place for it's called a kiss and drop where you drop off your children, and there's a place for a kiss and drop right there. So that space would work out, but if the YMCA comes in here and takes over more of Linguist Center, we may want to have the facility over there. They're going to come and ask for permission to conduct a feasibility study next month, so that'll be part of it. That may be all we need to know. And again, don't take any action on this. It's just for public disclosure and your information, so don't vote on it or anything.
Good for that. Steve, your area, your doorway might get a lot noisier here.
Well, I don't want to interrupt now.
You have to join up.
Yours or theirs? Okay, then maybe that's a good thing. Something to get you going over there. Thank you for that. Okay, we'll move on to 7.0, public comment on topics relating to GCC. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to 8.0, other business. Does anyone else have anything? You see your upcoming events here. Volleyball practice starting soon. Conference, MCCA summer conference, Samson golf tournament. One of us is still looking for a partner. If anybody has any, well, sense of humor, This would be me, but, okay, not getting any bites on that. Efficiency United Appliance Recycling event, I see on this. So you bring has anybody participated in this?
No, they did have it here last year, but they won't be promoting their event themselves.
Okay, do you know if there's a charge for that?
No, I don't think so, but again, they're gonna put out their information, so.
Okay. Well, thank you.
That's a bigger deal. That's a bigger deal when you think. I tried to get rid of a stove one time and it took an act of Congress to do.
Yes,
That's big.
actually, Iron County just had a recycling event last month. So I brought some things there, but I forgot my microwave. So this will be a good opportunity.
Anything with the with the thermometer, there's mercury and that's the complication. You can't just take it to the dump and leave it there. I didn't know that.
Okay, we'll move on to 9.0 closed session. Need a motion to move into closed session.
Motion to move into closed session.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Beal,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Fitting,
Yes.
Ms. Camosa,
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Lupino,
Yes.
Mr. Moy is absent, Mr. Pearson,
Yes.
Mr. Stamper.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, do you need a quick break before we move in?
Wendy needs to shut down.
5-minute recess.
Get some pie, it's delicious.
Hi.
Yeah, it was really made by Barbara.
Oh,
Oh, is it good? It is, it's very good.
It's like strawberry rhubarb.